Hey guys, I'm Ankita. Welcome to Mastering Organic Chemistry with Ankita. Today we'll be learning how to name cyclocompounds in our lesson number 7 of Mastering Organic Chemistry in just 90 days. And this is a part of IUPAC naming of organic compounds. So let's get started with learning.
So basically, what do we understand by a cyclocompound, guys? A cyclocompound is a compound that consists of a ring-like structure in which it has n number of carbon atoms within the ring, where the n can vary from 3 to infinity, and it might or might not have a substituent attached to it. That is not important. What is important is that this ring consisting of n number of carbon atoms or n number of atoms has to be from 3 to infinity. So why do we need to have at least 3 carbon atoms in the ring in order to make a ring, guys? Because if you just have 2 carbon atoms and you join them together, all you get is a line. So basically, to form a closed ring-like structure, we need at least 3 carbon atoms in our ring. So now let's learn how to name these cyclocompounds. So the primary prefix before any cyclocompound is basically cyclo. And now let's learn how we'll name this very structure we can see here. So guys, how many carbon atoms does this structure consist of? 1, 2 and 3. So definitely it's going to have a word root prop. Also, we can see that if we break this bond between these 2 carbon atoms, what do we get? We get a straight chain 3 carbon alkane, that is propane. And now that we have made it into a ring, it is a cyclocompound. So now it's a ring-like structure consisting of 3 carbon atoms. So we are going to call it cyclo because the primary prefix of any cyclocompound is cyclo. So that will come before the name of any cyclocompound. So cyclopropane because 3 carbon atoms. So it's going to have the word root prop. So cyclopropane, and it has no unsaturation anywhere. Therefore, it's an alkane-like structure. So it's called cyclopropane. Now let's see what will this compound be called. It has 4 carbon atoms and it's also a closed ring-like structure. So the word root will be bute, and we can see that we are having 4 carbon atoms in a ring-like structure. So the primary prefix will be cyclo again. So what do we call this, guys? Yes, you're absolutely right. We'll call it cyclobutane. That's exactly what we'll call it. Now what about this structure? We can see it's similar to cyclopropane. However, one hydrogen atom has been replaced by a bond between the free valent carbon and the carbon of the principal carbon chain. So what do we call such a substituent? We call it a propyl, cyclopropyl. That's what we call this, guys. The cyclopropane, the E of the cyclopropane has been replaced by YL, and we've been calling it cyclopropyl because it's a substituent in which the hydrogen atom at the free valent carbon has been replaced by a bond between the free valent carbon and the carbon of the principal carbon chain. And guys, what about this compound? This also has 5 carbon atom ring. So it's going to have a word root of pent, and it will also have a primary prefix cyclo. So we're going to call it cyclopentane. That's what's the name of this compound. Now what about this compound? This has a 6 carbon ring here. So we're going to call it cyclohexane. You're absolutely right. Because 6 carbon atom give us a word root of hex, and the cyclo will be there before the name of all these compounds because they are cyclocompounds. So that is their primary prefix. So guys, what about this compound that consists of unsaturation or one double bond here? How do we name this compound? So guys, what you do in order to name this compound, you break the bond between these 2 carbons. Then what do we get? We get a straight chain alkene that we would have called propene if it were straight chain and this bond would have been not there. Then it would have been a simple propene. But now that it's a ring-like structure, so we're going to call it cyclopropene. Just add the primary prefix to the beginning of the straight chain name of the compound and we get the name of the cyclocompound. It's going to be called cyclopropene. That's the name of this compound, guys. Now what about this? What would this have been called if this bond were not present? And it was a straight chain 6 carbon compound. We would have called it cyclohexene, but we would have called it just hexene. But now, since it has come into a ring-like structure, we'll add the primary prefix cyclo before it. So we'll be calling it cyclohexene. That's how we'll name this compound, guys. Now remember, guys, that in a ring, the numbering is either done in a complete clockwise direction or complete anti-clockwise direction. What we mean by this, guys, is that suppose you start your numbering from this carbon atom, because this is our substituent and this is going to get number 1 locant, and you start in a clockwise direction, your numbering. So it can't be that midway you think that, okay, let me go anti-clockwise and then number like this. This cannot be done, guys. If you go clockwise, then you have to complete your numbering in a clockwise direction. If you go anti-clockwise, then you have to complete your numbering in an anti-clockwise direction. So how are we going to name this compound? This is a cyclobutane and there is a methyl group attached to it. So simply we'll call it methyl cyclobutane. Here we are not needing to specify the locant 1 or 2 because all the positions of the cyclobutane are equivalent here. Okay, guys, because there is no other substituent, just a methyl group. Hence we'll call it methyl cyclobutane. That's the name of this compound. Now what about this compound? This has a straight chain 2 carbon atom here, 2 carbon atom straight chain and a cyclobutane like structure here. So how are we going to name this compound? And what are we going to take as our principal carbon chain? So since this cyclo part of the compound has 4 carbon atoms and the straight chain part has only 2 carbon atoms, we'll select the cyclo part as our principal carbon chain. So then this will become our substituent. So what will we call it, guys? You're absolutely right. It will be called ethyl cyclobutane. That's the name of this compound, guys. Ethyl cyclobutane. Now what about this compound, guys? We have a 3 carbon atom straight chain and a 4 carbon atom ring in our cyclo part. So how will we name this compound? Again, since this has 4 carbon atoms, this will be the principal carbon chain and this will be the substituent because it has only 3 carbon atoms, and we will be calling this propyl cyclobutane. That's the name of this compound, guys. Propyl cyclobutane. Now what if we have a case in which the side chain also has 4 carbon atoms and the ring part also has 4 carbon atoms? Then what will we do, guys? Now you have to remember in such a case that if everything is identical between the ring and the substituent, the ring will be the principal carbon chain. If both are the same number of carbon atoms, everything is identical between the ring and the substituent, then the ring is given higher priority. That will be our principal carbon chain. So how will we name this compound, guys? It has 4 carbon atoms in the straight chain as well as 4 carbon atoms in the ring. So we'll be calling this butyl cyclobutane. That's how we'll be calling this compound. Now guys, what about this compound? This has a 4 carbon atom ring and a 5 carbon atom chain, straight chain. Now since 5 carbon atoms are there in the straight chain whereas only 4 carbon atoms are there in the ring, we'll make the straight chain as our longest chain and the ring will not be the longest chain, it will be the substituent. Okay, guys. So now this straight chain is the longest chain and this is our principal carbon chain. So basically the name of this compound will be cyclobutyl because now the cyclobutane part has become the substituent. So we'll replace the ANE by YL. The ANE of cyclobutane gets replaced by YL because now it's a substituent. So it will be called cyclobutyl pentane. That's what we'll call this, guys. And the one here, the locant one that is given to the cyclobutyl part of the substituent, that is important in this case, guys, because if it's a straight chain, then all the positions are not equivalent. In a ring-like structure, the positions were equivalent in the previous example, so we were not giving the locant. But now the straight chain, we have to specify whether it's on the first locant or the second carbon or the third carbon. That has to be specified in the case of a straight chain. So this will be called cyclobutyl pentane. Now what about this compound, guys? Now we have a 4 carbon straight chain and a 4 carbon ring as well. And there's also a methyl group attached to this 4 carbon straight chain. So if this cyclobutane part was the principal carbon chain, we're getting only one substituent, guys. Whereas if the normal straight chain butane was our main principal carbon chain, we're getting the cyclobutyl group as well as the methyl group as our substituents. So guys, when you remember under identical conditions, we always select that as our principal carbon chain which has greater number of substituents. So therefore, we'll go with the straight chain as our principal carbon chain and not the ring part. So now how will we name this compound, guys? Now the question we have to ask is that do we give the cyclobutyl part a greater locant or the methyl part? Should we start our numbering from the left or from the right? Now guys, you see that the cyclobutyl part will be given greater priority because it is a ring and it has 4 carbon atoms in it. Therefore, we'll start our numbering from the left. And also, according to the alphabetical order, guys, we can see that C comes before M in the alphabetical order decision. Therefore, the cyclobutyl part will get greater priority over methyl group part. Therefore, we'll start our numbering from the left hand side and we are going to get 2 cyclobutyl, 3 methyl, butane. That's the name of this compound, guys. 2 cyclobutyl, 3 methyl, butane. Now, what about this compound? We have a cyclohexane here and we have a bromo group and a methyl group attached to it. So, since B comes before M in the alphabetical order decision, so we'll give the bromo part the number 1 locant and methyl group will be given the number 2 locant. So, we'll get 1 bromo, 2 methyl, cyclohexane. That's the name of this compound, guys. 1 bromo, 2 methyl, cyclohexane. What about this compound? This also has a cyclohexane in it and it has a methyl group here, here and here. So if we start our numbering from the clockwise direction, we're getting locants as 1, 2 and 4. And if we start our numbering from the anti-clockwise direction, that is like this, we're getting our locants as 1. The lowest locants we're talking about, guys, here. So 1, 2 and 5 are the locants in the anti-clockwise direction. Whereas in the clockwise direction, the lowest locants are 1, 2 and 4. Therefore, since we're getting a lower set of locants from the clockwise direction numbering, we're going to go with the clockwise direction numbering and we're going to name this compound as 1, 2, 4 trimethyl cyclohexane. That's the name of this compound, guys. 1, 2, 4 trimethyl cyclohexane according to the lowest set of locant rule. Now, what about this compound? We have 2 double bonds here and a cyclohexadiene sort of a structure. Now, we're going to have to number the double bonds. How we're going to number it? If we start our numbering from here in the clockwise direction, we'll get 1 and 3 as the locants for the double bonds. So we're going to call it 1, 3 cyclohexadiene. That's the name of this compound, guys. 1, 3 cyclohexadiene. Even for numbering via the anti-clockwise direction also, we would have got the same locants. So it doesn't matter in this case whether we start with in the anti-clockwise numbering or clockwise numbering. Now guys, these are a few questions that I'm going to discuss with you in the next lecture. I'll just like you to have a look at these questions once. Take a look at these questions and try to name them yourselves once. Then we'll have a discussion about this in the next lecture.
So guys, I hope with the help of this video, you will now be able to name
Cyclocompounds
with complete ease and accuracy. So I'll be coming up with more lectures shortly. Until then, keep practicing. Happy learning. Bye-bye.